All right, crew. Light the old campfire. Get the marshmallows. It's sing-along time.
Campfire? On a boat? Wouldn't that be dangerous?
I hadn't thought of that. Oh, well, let's sing anyway. Sea Dog? Oh, sing a song of Captain Crunch.
The sugar-sweet cereal that's fun to munch.
It's great for breakfast or even lunch.
No amount of milk will make it lose its crunch. No amount of milk will make it lose its...
All right, everybody, welcome to Lunch Therapy. I'm your host, Joel Marshall. Today is Interview Friday, and we've got a great guest today. We got Ben Rosenfeld all the way from New York City, from Queens, ready to come here and tell us all about himself and tell us, what for. Give us a lecture on what's funny, what's not. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. I've got a big announcement for one of our regulars on the show. I'm going to show you a picture and maybe you'll guess it. Todd Lee is here. Happy Friday. Who was the voice of Captain Crunch? It sounded like Mr. Magoo. I'm guessing it was the voice of Mr. Magoo. I thought the same thing. I don't know. We're going to have to find out. Maybe somebody in the chat room can find out. Richard Gaddis is here. Hello, hummingbirds. Your good friend Richard Gatos is checking in. He's become a cat today. I'm going to show you this crazy picture, and you're going to guess what the big news is. Big news is this. I've been sitting on this for a while because I knew something exciting was happening, but I didn't know the details. And if you'll notice, one of these people in this picture has been on the show multiple times, is a regular on the show. Can you see, I don't know, anybody out there, Claster fan, can you tell us which person it is who is a regular on the show and what this picture is from? It's a little bit of a quiz. I don't know, but let's see if I can tell you. There's a show called The Trust. The Trust. And it is a reality program. And it is starring Just Jay Patterson, our very own Just Jay Patterson, who may be in the chat room today. I don't know. But I'm going to show holy Claster fan. I'm going to show you a clip from this, but not today, probably on Tuesday, because I haven't gotten the okay from Netflix yet. Jim Backus, of course, the professor on Gilligan's Island, was the voice of Captain Crunch. I'm so glad that we cleared that up. Let's see what else we can clear up. Far right, Just Jay. That's right. You got it. I didn't give you enough time. There's never enough time. There she is on the right. I watched the trailer. She says something like, "I'm not your typical grandma." And as you know, she is definitely not your typical grandma. She's a stand-up comedian. She's our 70-year-old influencer. Let's get in this show called Lunch Therapy. I'm gonna get myself a modem. 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 I'm gonna get myself. All right, we got Ben in the green room with Boney bonging out or whatever they do in there. I don't know what they do. They do something to kind of prepare. Every time Boney gets people in the right mood, gets them really, flowing. And it's no exception today. That is amazing, Just Jay. I can't wait to see this thing. I don't know what the show's about. Something about money and greed. And we all know that Just Jay Patterson is one of the greediest comedians out there. Intellectually greedy, I might call her. Equal Means Equal says, from what I can tell, she makes the others look like a real asshole. We can only hope, right? We can only hope. And hopefully on the show, she's going to plug her other show, Lunch Therapy, of course. I mean, let's hope so. I don't know. We'll see. All right, it's time now. At the top of the show, we breathe. And we're going to do that today. This is a way to kind of relax the nervous system, kind of get some of the excitement out. I don't know. We don't want excitement out. Boney likes to hotbox the guests on Friday. Oh, no. I don't even know what that means. Is that like, I don't know. I'm not even going to ask. In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. If you listen really closely, you can hear the guest breathing too. In through the nose, out through the toes. Let it go. One more, in through the nose, out through the toes. Let it go. Equal means equal says, I think it means farts. Hot boxing. I kind of thought it was something where you like get under the sheets. I don't know. And fart or something? I don't know. I don't like to say the word fart. I don't like it. Bugs me. I'm weird that way. Sending out love and get well wishes for dear Bloss. Yes, so in this sanctuary here of breathing, we're going to send out some healing vibrations to our co-host on the show, Bloss Lorenzo. We're wishing him the best because he's gotten himself ill. Richard seconds that motion. So yeah, please send out good healing vibes to Bloss so he can come back here and tell us all about his adventures. We're very worried about him. Yeah, we're very worried about him. But we went to go see him last week, and he was up, sitting up and talking, and being his Bloss self, making some jokes. He even had me turn on the healing vibrations so that he could relax, and he went right to sleep. Dutch oven. Yeah, that's the Dutch oven. Yeah, knew I was afraid to ask about this hot boxing thing. It's not. I don't think it's like something like a warm lunch or something. I don't think it's that. I think I'm gonna get myself in trouble because I really don't know what it means. Ooh, oh, happy Commando Friday on the show. Just so everybody knows, we don't say hi, we say hoy, and we all make sure that we have. We're very safe and we have modems. Thoughts and prayers to Bloss. Thanks, Jose. Yeah. All right, moving on to the musical portion of the show. The anticipation is building. This is Luke Gillian playing the handpan. This is a good one, my friends. And you know what? I don't know Julian, but I mean Luke Julian, but he seems like a really cool guy, like somebody we want to hang out with. Go to Bali. And his cat is super cool. Howard had COVID. There's the cat. The cat's name is Paulo. Sorry to hear that, Howard. He's back, but still no voice. Prayers to Bloss, yes. Really, seriously, send out your prayers to Bloss because he needs to heal himself. Sorry to hear that. Yes. COVID seems to be going back around. Wear your masks, people. Attend your virtual shows such as this. This guy's good. Go over to his YouTube channel, Luke Julian. He's just needs some subscribers over there. Check out this bug. This is like Super Jeff level. Wonder where he is. No idea. Need to check out the new cult docu-series about Love Is One. Oh my God, have checked it out, Todd. It is a trip and a half. It's on Max. We really like that one. I mean, it was got, I don't know, like the beginning of it maybe. It's intense. Also, there's that one out there called Twin Flames, I think. That one's weird too. Very disturbing. Yeah. It's a caution to y'all. Having nightmares. I have too. I've been having nightmares about Love Is One. I told somebody about it recently and they just heard the title and they were like, that sounds dark. I wouldn't have thought that. All right, let's get into the interview. It's Interview Friday.
Here's how Russian textbooks describe different forms of government. They're like, in a dictatorship, the dictator poisons everyone. In socialism, people poison each other. And in a democracy, Facebook poisons everyone. The fact that we laughed, clapped, and got a little sad. Yeah, it was the 5 stages of grief all in one. We did it, everyone. We did it. I've been told my jokes are very clever. Which means they're funnier the second time you hear them. I've been told my jokes are very clever. That was a test. You passed. Good job. You passed.
All right. Yes. Ben Rosenfeld, all the way from New York City. Welcome to Lunch Therapy.
Hello, Joe. Hello, hummingbirds. Psyched to be here. Although I am a little lightheaded from that meditation.
You are. Does it have that effect on you, huh? Makes you lightheaded. Wow, that's
Well,
good.
I was about to breathe out, then you're like, hold it, and then I didn't have the good hold on it, so I was like...
Yeah, I think we've been doing it for a while, so our lung capacity is ginormous.
Yes. Yeah, and it is an honor to be introduced after you announced Jay Patterson's Netflix show and your co-host being hospitalized. And now here's our guest.
Hopefully he doesn't keel over on us right while he's here. Or get too greedy like Jay Patterson apparently is very greedy on this show. Yeah.
But I did already learn something from your show, that Captain Crunch opening.
Yes.
Who knew Captain Crunch used to smoke meth?
I know, no one knew. No one knew. We all suspected, of course. You know, I want to ask you that right off the bat. What is your favorite breakfast cereal if you didn't have to worry about health?
If I didn't have to worry about health, Apple Jacks mixed with Honey Nut Cheerios and Frosted Flakes. Put them all together. Mwah.
Wow, that's impressive. Because we were talking about this on Tuesday. And a lot of people said Crunch Berries, Captain Crunch Berries. Do you know what the most popular breakfast cereal in America is?
Cornflakes?
Come on, Ben. Come on. Cornflakes? I don't know. I mean, it's
Wheaties?
Wheaties? Think about babies. What do babies eat? You have a baby. You've had a baby before.
I've had a baby. They eat mush. Gerber's.
God, I can't believe I put you on the spot right away.
Oatmeal.
Cheerios.
Cheerios.
Right?
Yeah. She did used to eat Cheerios. That tracks.
Why do they eat Cheerios? Is it because their little hands can grab them really well and they can't grab
Yeah,
the
little
cornflakes?
hands, and there's not too much flavor, so they can it's crunchy, but they can not be overwhelmed by it.
And is it good for them? I don't know. That seems weird.
No, well, that's the thing. Because it's not sweet, you can at least like pretend you're being a good parent by giving them processed foods.
Processed food.
Whereas if it was like Honey Nut Cheerios, you're the monster.
Yeah, that would be a horrible thing. You know, I talked my mom into believing that Honey Nut Cheerios were good for you when I was a kid. Anything with honey in it. So we ate like honeycombs. I mean, that's pure processed sugar. It has nothing to do with honey. It just looks like a honeycomb. That was a good trick on their part, I think. Most popular cereals. Cheerios. Yeah, Cheerios makes sense. Claster fan agrees. I want to... What?
I'll say hello, equal means equal. I appreciate all your chat listeners, hummingbirds kicking in. The weather in New York is... it's a pleasant 40-ish.
40-ish?
When there's no wind whipping around, it's like fine. But as soon as the wind kicks up, you want to kill yourself and move to LA.
Oh my God! Have you ever lived in LA?
I did actually. I spent a couple of months dropping out of grad school at Caltech in Pasadena. So
really fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's why you don't know what the La Brea tar pits are. You don't know what that is because I guess you weren't paying attention. Oh, we hear a little voice. I hear a little voice.
Yes.
Say hello.
It seems like Child has come back, but I think she will hopefully not make an appearance. But we'll see.
She's welcome. She's welcome. La
Brea tar pits. By the way, La Brea tar pits. That just sounds like an STD.
There's an entire show based on La Brea tar pits. I don't know if it's on the air anymore, but the street collapses and everybody falls into like a dinosaur land. I mean, that's some serious drama, I'll tell you that. Okay, so let's get into this thing. I didn't have a chance to introduce you because I was too high on my own supply. But I want to say, Ben... What?
You were high, yet you don't know what hotboxing means.
No, I don't. I don't think I want to
Hotboxing is when people smoke marijuana in a confined space. So then, like, when you exhale it, it's still around you. So you're kind of like breathing it in again. Usually in a van, I believe.
Okay, all right. I'm glad because I thought it was, I thought we were heading into that territory that I don't like to go into in stand-up comedy, which is, of course, ass eating. Like, people always talk about it. I don't know. Is that in New York? Do people talk about that at stand-up comedy? Like, why are they talking
here
about
or there?
in LA, it's like a disease. Everybody has to say it sometime in their set. They have to talk about that.
I will say, for someone who doesn't like talking about it, this is the second time you've brought it up. You brought it up pre-show too.
I know.
So this feels like one of those not talking about.
I laid down the rules to Ben, and one of my rules was you cannot say that phrase. And of course, I brought it up.
I'm just glad you didn't make it a drinking game, or we'd be in trouble by now.
I like the way you do audience interaction. I've been watching your comedy, and one of the things is you said, like, it's a drinking game every time I say the word poison. And I thought that was super cool. But you say poison so many times, I'm sure you got a lot of people passing out or maybe some drunk hecklers. I don't know, because it was like a lot of poison.
Yeah, the special you played, the first joke is about that stuff is in Russian university, the easiest major is always political science. Uh-huh. Because the answer to any question is you poison them. And then off of that, I have like a lot. Yeah. Some would say too many callbacks to poison during that show, but it was
never
a fun,
too many callbacks. Never too many callbacks. Do you do that where I have a question for you, like a serious question. When you do your comedy, do you ever like take a topic and then try and drill down on it? Or how do you approach your comedy like writing?
Yeah, so kind of I would view it in two ways that work at once. One is like some story happens to you, and you have this like long, 2 to 5 minute something that's sort of a beginning, middle, and end, and hopefully parts of it are funny, and then you're adding punchlines or like figuring out while it's important if you're just telling the story, but for stand-up you could probably get rid of this whole section. Yeah. So one thing that's happening is you have this 5 minute thing you're trying to carve into the essential 90 seconds. Mm-hmm. But then at the second way, and sometimes at the same time, you just have like this little nugget of something that you try to expand from a 1 or 2 liner into like something bigger.
Yeah,
Like I said, that the poison stuff, just that political science joke, that was all I had for a while. And then it kind of expanded into like the democracy that you played that clip.
Yeah.
And then as I was putting together the hour, it just kind of kept coming back in different spots. Because once it's like hitting and fun, it fits in a lot of places.
And do you ever go down that road where you're like, I'm doing this one topic and no one's getting it now, and then you just kind of switch gears in the middle of it?
If I'm taping a special, I'm just going to do what I planned on. If I'm just doing a set, I will adjust more to what, if you're doing 15 or 20 minutes and 8 minutes in, they have no clue what you're talking about.
They don't know about poison, or they don't care about it. Yeah.
They think Russia's a city in Florida, If you realize, then you got to shift gears and do the job and just do dick jokes or whatever to try to connect with them. But if it's like, if they're there for your special, you got to do you also want to, write the show copy to self-select people that are more likely to enjoy what you do.
Yes. Of course. But, you've done 5 comedy specials, right? 5 comedy specials.
Yes.
And how long have you been doing comedy?
15 years.
15 years. And when did you start doing the specials?
The first one I did 4 years in. I just happened to video a 50 minute set that went well. So I cut it up into audio for an album. And I also have the video somewhere. Yeah. Then the next one was 4 years after that. And then after that, I've been doing them every 2 years, give or take. I think COVID might have been 3 just because
you said
the timing of it.
Nothing happened during
that
time.
Nothing happened.
I love that. Mike Knox is like 5. Hey, I want to send a shout out to Mike Knox.
Yeah, shout out to Mike Knox for putting us in touch.
Yeah, so it's really great. It's really great. So you were born in Russia, right? You moved when you were 3? 3? Is that how old you were?
We left, and technically it was the Soviet Union, but it was St. Petersburg, which is now in Russia. We left when I was 3. We got to America when I was 4, because back in the 80s, you couldn't just like catch a flight to New York. It was like you first have to flee to, I forget the order, but it was both Austria and Italy, Vienna and Rome in some order, where I think the Soviet Union sort of let you go to one of them. Then you like claim refugee status. Then the next country lets you in. And then you wait for Canada, America, or Israel to let you in for final.
Now, was that, you were 3 years old. Do you remember any of it?
Yeah. No.
Do you remember living in Russia?
No, I was back a few times, like after I graduated high school, and then another time, but I don't remember. But like many comedians, I've blocked out most of my childhood anyway. So
of course, you just make it up from there, just from the small bits of information that you have. Now, how has being from Russia affected your comedy, and how, especially now, how does it affect it?
Well, for a while, nobody knew what the hell I was talking about.
Yeah.
Because, other than whenever the last Rocky villain from Russia was there, no one really
Boris or whatever
knew much from the 90s and 2000s. Then a couple years ago, I was like, here we go. This is my chance. I'm gonna get some big stuff because I have opinions on it. And I have from the last album, Geopolitical Dick Jokes, that there's a solid 10 to 15 minute section of the Ukraine-Russia war in mostly joke form, but it did not make the career difference I was hoping for.
No, but certainly Russia.
I was like, this is a tragedy, but maybe it'll at least help my career.
Yeah, right. Well, comedy is very necessary when tragedy is happening. I think sometimes people don't understand that, but they're like, are you going to back away from it now because of that? No, you've got to go into it. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, fortunately, because we need comedy. We need it.
Yeah, I mean, look, some comedians choose to go to wacky, silly, don't talk about anything route.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you ever have pushback from the audience when you say you're Russian or you talk about being Russian and people are like, you know?
Yeah, not. I mean, now, no. I would say like, when they invaded, what was it, March 2021? Like
Yeah.
March, April, May, that there was like people cared, and I had to get into it the right way.
Yeah.
And then by like September, I'm like, everyone forgot what I'm talking about. So like it went from like, a 10, 15-minute thing to like, here's 3 quick jokes about it and let's move on. I'll do like daughter speaks Russian jokes, but there's no point in like the more advanced political jokes that Americans just don't track.
It gets
enough.
too much because we're so self-involved here in America. And you're an American as well. Do you find yourself just like every other American, not knowing enough about other countries, not knowing who's the president of the different countries and what's going on in their
I mean, I definitely went to enough American public school that I can't name more than 8 world leaders.
Yeah.
But it's weird. I never think of myself as an American. I'd say I'm a New Yorker, but not an American.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I'm going to play a little clip.
I am technically American as far as a passport goes, but
you are American.
Why are Americans so depressed? Because we have too much freedom. Not civil liberties, don't be ridiculous. But we actually believe we can be anything we want. That's a lot of pressure. Back in the Middle Ages, you could only be a serf. So if you were bad at surfing, what can you do?
What can you do? All right. Yeah, that's the way the show goes. Now you're in black and white, which is cool. You look like more sophisticated that way, I think.
I feel more sophisticated.
It's cool, man.
I feel like this is like, now we're going to do thoughts on happiness.
Yeah, right. Let's do it. Speaking of that, what do you do to keep your mind right? Is there anything like, because, being a comedian sometimes is kind of hard on the psyche. I don't know. Do you find that at all? Or do you think it's more therapeutic than difficult on the psyche?
When I'm writing, it's therapeutic, right? Because I no longer have bad things happen. I just have material.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you go down the social media comparison wormhole of that takes all your joy, then that's self-defeating. So I try to just, I'll post my stuff, but I try to not get into long doom scrolls of what everyone else's Jay Patterson's Netflix show is coming out and all that.
Do you think that's a thing among comedians to like kind of compare ourselves to others and go like, I'm not filling stadiums? Because that happens to me sometimes. I think it happens to everybody. We're like, what am I doing, man? What am I doing?
Yeah, it's definitely a natural, if you've been in it a few years, there's always someone you start with has X or Y or whatever. And although you have Z, but I've also learned from being around enough, like even people who you think you would trade your career for like that, they're not happy either.
Right.
It's a never-ending spiral staircase where you can
never-ending.
See a couple levels above you and you're like, that looks better, but then you get there and it's the same. It just keeps...
Well, yeah, and then also, like people one of the benefits of being at your level, my level, is that nobody can really tell us what to do, and that's kind of a blessing. I think that later on you're like, they even give you writers to write for you and things like that. And it's apparently very difficult. I'd like to try it, but it's apparently very difficult.
I mean, look, I've been turning over a new hour every 2 years when nobody at all has asked for it. So I like to think if people are actually asking for it, I'll be able to turn it over every 6 or 9 months, no problem. Because I've learned, I have the skill. It's just instead of a lot of 20-minute spots and no one's there for me.
Yeah.
I imagine if I had a lot of hour-long spots and they want to see me, I will turn things quick.
That's one of the things that Seinfeld says, is he said that he got onto the Tonight Show repeatedly because he kept having material. where a lot of people were just working their same, 3 minutes or whatever, or 90 seconds, and they didn't have other stuff. And so they were like, can you come back next week? And he was like, had material. So honing the skill of writing is so important, and it makes you feel like more powerful, right? I mean, it makes you feel like I can, take more.
Well, it feels like, at least for me, that's something I can control, whereas all that other stuff is out of your control, or at least feels more out of my control. I don't know. I don't want to turn this into actual therapy where I get depressed.
Come on, it's super fun. Therapy is super fun. All right, let's do a stock exchange one. This one's pretty good.
President of the New York Stock Exchange said, "The markets are not a casino." The mayor of Las Vegas said, "I agree. The casinos actually catch cheaters and ban them for life."
Mike Knox says you are a great writer. Ben is a great writer, and I believe that because I've seen a lot of his comedy. It's really well structured.
I like that the two TikToks you found, I don't remember saying or writing.
I love it. I love that.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing TikTok?
I'm watching it. I'm like, oh, these are good points.
They're smart.
Yeah,
they're smart.
I'm like, I'm also like, I see why I didn't keep this as stand-up because it's not punchy enough, but I'm like, I'm making some good points here.
It works for that. I know one time I did a TikTok where I just held up the phone and I said, why are all these politicians asking us for money? They can have money if they want, but they got to tell me how they're going to pay it back, what kind of interest rate they want, and when they're going to pay it back. And I just said that into the phone because I was just feeling like that because I was getting all these emails. And that was one of my more popular ones. Sometimes it's just like if you say something that, people have an understanding of and feel sort of like the same way. Sometimes that might not play in a club, but it also might get people to, follow you or whatever. You have like 250,000 followers on TikTok, which is pretty amazing. And I like to say 250,000 because it sounds like a hell of a lot. So how did that build over time? How long have you been doing it? And what would be your advice to other people about that?
So I started it during the pandemic. My friend, he's in LA now. I don't know if you know him, Chris James, black British guy.
Oh, no, I don't know Chris James. I might have run across him, but I don't know.
But he was like, mate, you got to get on the TikTok. Mate, get on the TikTok. It's blowing up. Get on it. You'll be perfect for it. So I'm like, all right. And like he kept harassing me, March 2020. So like, March, April, he was harassing me. Then by May, I'm like, all right, I'm going to post twice a day, every day for 30 days. And I'm going to text you each time to annoy you as much as you've annoyed me about this.
Yeah.
And then within a couple of weeks, and it, because everything was closed. So it was just me doing some of my jokes from my older albums with a white wall behind me. And like, within a couple of weeks, the clips were, bad clips would get 10K views, good clips 100K or 1 million.
Wow, that's great.
And then so it went from like
thrilled by that? I mean, was it like surprising to you and you were like, oh my God, this is great? Or were you like, this is stupid, TikTok? Who are these people?
I'm pretty good at not being happy about anything.
Really? Oh, no.
So I would describe it as it's about time someone figures out I'm good at this. Like not to be cocky about it, but it's just like, when you do it long enough, you're like, all right, finally something. But so it grew from like, I think I had posted a couple videos before that didn't do much, but it grew from May to like probably August or September, it got to 100,000, and then probably doubled a couple other times.
Does that help you book shows? Yes, it does. Of course, everybody should do it.
No, I think I am the Guinness World Book record holder of most followers without figuring out a way to monetize it in any meaningful way.
Do you ever do live TikToks?
I used to do that. I've given up on TikTok, honestly. Like, I think I got shadow banned because I pissed off the asexual community. And I think they just kept complaining about enough videos that it just killed all the views.
Man. It's so hard, like out here in the
and it wasn't
the
even
internet
like
world.
And it wasn't even like at the asexuals. It was something like, call me old fashioned, but if you're not having sex at least 3 times a week, that's not a relationship. That's a hostage situation. Right. So just
I
me
know,
talking
it's just
about my
joke. It's a joke
and
about
my
your
experience.
own thing. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I'm generalizing, but I'm not. And they're like, well, as an asexual person, I'm offended.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Well, everybody's going to be offended by something. Okay, now this is you at the Comedy Cellar.
The
Go ahead.
asexuals, because they're not trying to get laid,
Yeah.
they have more free time, so they're going on TikTok and marking complaint till it kills your views.
Equal means equal says, is there a large asexual community?
Large enough to fuck up my views.
to take him down. All right,
I'm not bitter. It's fine. Live your life.
No, of course
everyone.
not. Of course not.
I was born in the most evil part of Russia. Russia. I'm Russian and Jewish, so I still have asthma. But it's very aggressive. I was just performing at the comedy club next door when I decided to invade this one. If you don't laugh louder, I will go to nuclear option.
All right, yeah. So that's at the Comedy Cellar. Tell us about that. That's like a very prestigious comedy club? How do you go there often, or what happens there?
So I do. My friend Rick Crome teaches classes there, so I often close out his comedy class shows, which are not technically related to the rest of the shows there.
Mm-hmm. And do you aspire to be like a regular at one of these kind of clubs, or what are you looking to do with your comedy?
Yeah, that'd be great. But I mean, I think the goal would be Doug Stanhope, where people come to see you, but you can live an anonymous existence, but you still sell tickets and say what you want.
So you don't want to be famous. You want to be famous enough to fill the seats.
Yeah, I want to be able to fill seats. I don't need to be a Kardashian.
You don't want to be adored and get butt implants. I'm really seem to be obsessed with the whole butt thing. I think you're right about that.
You do. If I was your therapist, I would encourage you to explore ass play to get it out of your system.
Yeah, something's going on. The therapy is pretty intense here. Do you think being a good comedian is related to being organized? Because doing 5 comedy specials is not something that somebody does when they are just kind of winging it.
I would answer your question without answering it. I find there's generally 2 types of comedians. One type is their natural inclination is Poindexter writery, and the other is just a great performer but doesn't say much. And then however you start out, one of those is much better than the other at the start. In an ideal world, they both grow and kind of catch up over time, where if you're rating it out of 100, let's say you start with your writing at a 25 and your performance at a 2, which is probably how I would describe my first few years. But then, the goal is to at least get the writing to a 90 and the performance to a 70. So it's at least not distracting.
Well, I can see that because I watched a lot of your comedy, and I watched it kind of from the beginning all the way to the present. And you really grew as a comedian because when you came out, you were really good at writing jokes, but your stage presence didn't quite feel like you were saying it off the cuff, or like you were saying it like it was fresh minted words that were coming out of your mouth, which is kind of the magic trick of comedy, I suppose. And
yes, learning how to not sound rehearsed.
Yeah,
it was extremely difficult for me. I think I still sound. It's also right. It depends on your style and what you talk about.
Yeah,
if you're just talking about I was fucking with this bitch last night. Like that comes off more like you're not rehearsed because it's like you're talking to someone at a
And
bar.
that sounds
when you're
like one of your bits for sure.
Right, here's the ninth thing to consider about Ukraine, Russia. You know, like some subject matter is harder to like make it feel off the cuff. But yeah, I'd say even since the last special came out, I've been still very much more focused on the performative aspects that there's a whole language and thought of performance that I didn't even realize until 2 years ago. Well, I started working, and everyone's going to laugh, but I started working with a mime who teaches.
That's great.
He teaches like physical performance.
Yes.
I'd call him he serves more of a role as a comedy director at this point, but it's all like physicality and
so
movement and talking, even like, how your voice modulates in different spots. But it's a whole language I didn't even know existed my first 13 years. So
it's so great that you're doing that because it expands you so much. And also, we've had a lot of clowns on the show, a lot of comedians that started out as clowns. And then just a lot of clowns that were never put on makeup at all. Of course, those people too we've had on the show. But no, but
those
seriously,
are called cable news talking heads.
We've had some of those as well. The thing is, the clowns do say that the physicality really helps them in their stand-up comedy because obviously doing act outs and things like that, sometimes for a lot of people, they feel like I'm going to look like a fool if I act this thing out. But that's usually what you're trying to do. You're trying to look like a fool.
Yeah.
I don't know what the drums are there. Boney, thanks for that. I appreciate that. Boney's doing some sound.
And even when it's not in an act out, just, there's a difference between like, here is the thing I am saying, and here is the thing I am saying. But like, just even emphasizing your own stuff.
There's a thing on YouTube where they say if you use your hands more, you get more views. Have you ever heard that one?
I've not heard it, but for whatever reason, now we're both going to just use our hands the last 15 minutes. But
we got a request actually show us trapped in a box.
I've never done actual mime stuff at the mime coaching.
I have.
Yeah, you're crushing it for both
I'm
of us.
crushing
I don't need
it.
to do it.
I just don't have a box though. You have an actual box. I seem to be floating in the sky or something like that.
Well, you're trapped in the sky.
I'm in my element up here flying. I want to see another really quick here. Oh, this is a good one.
You ever notice how the word public makes the next word bad? Public school, public pool, which doubles as a public bathroom. Have you also noticed the word private makes the next word good? Private school, private pool, which doubles as a private bathroom. So please share this joke. Don't just enjoy it alone in private.
Wow, that was good. So you remember that one? Okay. I was a little bit concerned that maybe you forgot your childhood. Now you forgot these TikToks. That maybe something was going on.
That one I remember because it's while it's on a version of that's on the latest special, it's still a joke that I keep reworking because it doesn't get a consistent pop. It's one of those people seem to like it, but it doesn't get the laughs, so I just keep reworking it.
Yeah.
And then giving up on it and then bringing it back. So that one I remember. That version's not the exact version I do these days, but it's a long piece that doesn't yet work the way I want it to.
Do you have those jokes? So you have those jokes where you're like, I know this is going to be funny, but it just hasn't reached the audience yet, and I need to keep retooling it, and you just hang on to it until you finally make it work?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have all sorts of... I have a whole 15 or 20-minute chunk on success, class, meaning like upper class, lower class, and luck in America. Yeah. Where it's like, there's technically jokes there. Yeah. But unless you're there to see me for an hour, right? If I'm just doing a 10, 15-minute club set, like I can't work those in because the context is off. So I kind of keep it to the side and look it over and rewrite it here or there. But yeah, there's most jokes. I'd say 80% of jokes within 2 weeks. I'm either using it because it works. I modified it a little and it works, and it's like 80% there, and then you play with how to perform it in a couple tags, whatever. Or I try it a couple times and all right, it's not getting a laugh. I don't love it that much anyway. Whatever. So like,
you give it like 2 weeks. Like that's about what you give it. It
depends how long or short it is and how excited I am about it. 3 to 10 shows. If it's getting nothing, I can't just keep.
Yeah. Beating a dead horse, as it were.
On it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
So 80 to 90% gets figured out pretty quickly of potential, keep doing it or just let it go. And then like 10% are these longer pieces that I keep rewriting, and I'll occasionally, like if it's like my bar show or something, read it off my phone because it's so long I don't even want to memorize it until it works, but it's not going to work till you memorize it.
You said you have a bar show. What's that mean?
Me and a couple of friends just have like a weekly Sunday night backroom show. So
you do it every Sunday night?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
On the Lower East Side.
Is that where you try out your craziest stuff?
That's where I'm least inhibited. It's also the only place where I'll read off my phone like things that I've not yet memorized to see if I should bother to memorize it or not.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll also, I'm not an asshole about it. I'll first do 3 or 4 minutes of things that work so they trust me, and then I break their trust.
Yeah, so that's probably a safe thing to do, throw in the new stuff with the old stuff. And you do so much writing though. Are you writing any like screenplays or shows or anything like that for yourself?
I've done all that. We've been pitching Unscripted more lately because we have an unscripted agent.
What does that mean? An unscripted agent?
It's reality, but not just game shows, prank shows. Those are all technically unscripted. Basically, things that don't have a set with real actors and a script. So like I don't know. The Blacklist is a scripted show, right? I think that's the show name. Whereas like Real Housewives, unscripted. Although all the unscripted is like pretty produced and scripted.
Yeah.
But technically it's not. So, but ours are more like game show, prank show, documentary. All of those are anything that's not like writers writing an actual script is unscripted.
That seems like a good place for comedians. I mean, there's a lot of work for comedians in game shows and unscripted material. Like just Jay is on the. I don't want to.
Yes.
I don't want to hit a sore spot with you.
Keep talking about Jay. I don't even know them. I'm happy for them. It's just always funny if you've ever been at a comedy club where like the pre-show is videos of super famous comedians,
and
then they bring you up and everyone's like, "That's not someone we already."
That's not Kevin Hart.
Yeah. So
I know.
I'm only teasing you because that's you did the web show version of that.
Yeah, totally. No, Just Jay is a 70-year-old comedian. She's been on the show multiple times. She's been kind of developing her act as she goes along. And somewhere along the line, she got herself in a reality program through another comedian. And now she's on it. And I'll tell you, she's scared as hell. Because, like you say, they script it out of the content.
And you have no control over those edits.
No control. And so she's like, oh my God. But at the same time, she's like, well, how do you, capitalize on this? And how do you get yourself into comedy clubs and stuff because of this kind of thing? And it sounds like the fact that you got an agent and that you're working on unscripted stuff, it seems like a good move. Really good move.
Well, it's not a good move until something sells. Then it's a good move, right? But
right.
for now, it just feels like you're putting a lot of brain power and time on an unpaid pet project.
It's hard, isn't it? It's hard.
So yeah, but we also have scripts. TV. I like TV shows more than movies. Because it's just as hard to sell a TV show as a movie. But if you sell a TV show, you get to work, hopefully for multiple seasons on lots of episodes. Whereas like a movie is a one-off.
Yeah.
And the money's seems harder with movies, especially if you're not already a known entity.
Also, there's probably more money in television or in shows now than there is in movies, because there's so many of these blockbuster movies that you have to compete with and all this stuff, that when you do get an indie film out there and into theaters and things like that, a lot of times you don't make any money unless it's like your second or third one or something like that. All right, I gotta let you go because I promised that I would get you out by the top of the hour, but I forgot to tell you this, and I'm going to tell it to you now. At the end of the show, there's a dance break, and we play some music, and we just kind of, dance in our seat.
Okay.
I hope you're up for that.
Tricky of you to not tell me till now.
It's not a contest.
This might have influenced my decision on if I want to do the show.
I know. That's why I don't tell you till right now.
I feel bait and switched right now.
The weirdest thing is I forgot even to get the dance break song, which has never happened to me. I was so into your comedy and so into your my research of you that I forgot to even get a dance break. So I just pulled one up. Well, as we were talking, I got Boney to help me out, and we've got a really good one. This is a really good band. It's called The Main Squeeze, and it's always a cover song. I don't know if are you a Michael Jackson fan by any chance?
I feel that's a loaded question that I'm not going to answer.
Well, okay then. Are you a Woody Allen fan? Yeah. Anyway, so thanks so much for being on the show, and everybody should go subscribe to Big Ben Comedy. Would you rather people go to your website and then go to all your socials?
Instagram, because I've learned I can't monetize TikTok. So
is there no money in TikTok at all, or what's happening there?
Maybe you need more than 250,000 followers, but I literally, there's a point where a company was paying me to give away my own books.
Yeah.
And I was just like, leave a comment and you'll be eligible to win a book for free with free shipping.
Yeah.
And like the video, there was like 30 videos in there, and a bunch of them got like, 50 or 100,000 views. Uh-huh. Barely anyone even entered for a free thing. So I don't know.
Who knows? Todd Lee says he thinks your childhood doppelganger is Chucky Finster from Rugrats. Do you know this reference? You do know this reference.
I've heard it once or twice.
You have? This has been said before. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty astute then. All right, so it's time for the dance break. Thanks so much, Ben, for being on the show. It's so much fun.
Thanks for having me.
And for all of your insights and everything. Seriously, it was really.
Thank you.
Really
Thank you,
useful.
Hummingbird, Todd, Equal Means Equal, Mike Knox, Bob Kirk, Jose Salas, Claster fan, Pam.
Cool. All right, here we go. Dance break time. The picture's still up there. Uh-oh, there's Just Jay. Okay. And here you come. I'm bringing you on. All right. So this is a band called Big Squeeze, and they're doing some mellow Michael Jackson for us. You don't have to moonwalk or anything. We're just going to kind of enjoy it. This is a band, I think they're out of LA. This is Man in the Mirror. That's us.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life.
The thank yous are coming in. Thank you for coming.
Gonna feel real good.
Thank you.
Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. As I turn up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street without enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their needs? A summer's disregard, a broken bottle top, and a one-man store. They follow each other all the way, 'cause they got nowhere
you on Tuesday.
It's time that I realize
I'm just letting this song
there
play.
was some with no home, not a nickel alone. Could it be
All
really
right, thanks, Ben
me
Rosenfeld, for being
pretending
on the
that
show.
they're not
We'll see you
alone?
soon.
Oh,